No mana.
If anything happens to it, I'm gonna launch the nuclear weapons.
No cards.
The person that hits me below 65 will die.
Oh my gosh.
All charisma.
Our policy is that we don't pay ransom.
Calculation.
And this, my friends, is why you never politic with someone before they enter their second main phase.
Conquest.
Well, but the thing here is...
I'll cry at your funeral.
Politics, sometimes called the master science, in Commander is a way to generate value using your words in a way that can't be done in other formats.
In Commander, you can make deals, which is pretty weird for me.
There are two methods of deriving value from the political axis. The first involves reminding, revealing, or requesting information in order to change how info-receiving players determine their best decision. This spotlighting doesn't involve locking yourself into any game actions, and doing so successfully can present yourself as a helping hand to info-receiving players. For example, reminding the table that many life gain decks run Flux Reservoir, so if they have damage to throw around, it should go to that player to manage their life total. Good spotlighting requires giving true information and insightful analysis with concise explanations and reasoned, calm demeanor. Here, watch Krim successfully deflect a big attack.
Anyways, I was saying he's Thanos, he snapped my deck, and for the greater good of all of us, he's gonna have to die.
Yes.
It's a 3/3.
Okay, kill it.
Just remember one thing.
What's that?
At the end of all of this, you have to beat them.
Okay, but
I am the best bet at beating CGB's deck.
I'm
right?
starting to get concerned about it.
And the thing here is, you gotta remember.
how about this? How about we make a deal?
Okay. What the?
Once CGB draws attention to the behavior, the player hesitates. They're uncertain.
No, he's falling for the classic Commander blunder. He's letting the politic player talk him out of the right attack.
I'm thinking about my future as well, because technically he is right. If he dies, how do you die?
I am the least threatening person right now.
Right now.
Right now, you see
Right
that?
now, right
Okay.
now. See, you're
But
talking your way
you
out
do,
of this.
but you.
That's fine. Seven to me.
7 damage.
That's a comfy, cozy
Love
seven.
tap, love.
But there are plenty of times when spotlighting can fail. In fact, the professor seems to be especially bad at spotlighting because this keeps happening.
Snakes and attacking someone out of spite and not out of actual threat assessment. Didn't you write our threat assessment video? And aren't you following the things you wrote? Anyway, I'm just
No one's ganging up on you.
everyone's ganging up on me.
I passed my turn.
Play Curse of Opulence on the professor.
What? Why me? What did I do to you? He attacked you. Everybody gang up on the professor. I want two attackers. Aww. Gavin's the threat. I'm the threat. You're the threat.
You're the danger.
You're always the threat guy. He smashed me, does some damage to me, so I'm kind of worried about that. However, you are definitely gonna kill me on your next turn because of the myriad copies. So I feel like,
What if I chose not to attack?
all right, Master, it's you and
No,
me.
you never make a deal with the
What
master.
the hell?
So, Prof, if you're watching, here's hoping you appreciate. When spotlighting fails, you might consider turning to the second political method, propositions. When a player offers a conditional statement like, if you help me, I'll help you, and the outcome is positive for whom they're speaking with, a client of sorts, then those two players are cooperating. But that outcome might just as easily have been a negative one. If you hurt me, I'll hurt you. An attempt to prohibit certain game actions, like this.
The person that hits me below 65 will die.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, there are 3 other ways to structure terms of a proposition like this, each with their own mirror with positive and negative outcomes for the client. Together, these 4 deals and 4 threats make 8 propositions in total. Now, when I first drew this up, I was curious. Which propositions happen most often? Are some more effective than others? Are there any secret tricks I can use that maximize the value you get from these propositions? So I spent many days playing and reviewing hundreds of games, reviewing dozens of hours of footage, recording as many interactions as I could find across multiple different playgroups and personalities, even taking audience submissions from my patrons. Here's what I found. Among the 4 classes of deals, 31% were cooperations, 22% were appeasements, 13% were conscriptions, and 33% were blind eye deals. The biggest difference here is the gap between conscriptions and blind eyes. These were deals where you either said, if you don't hurt me, I won't hurt you, or if you help me, I won't hurt you. To see why there are so few conscriptions, let's compare this to the number of threats that were issued. Here, the data tells a very different story. There are so few threats being issued across any structure of proposition. And even though conscription is a deal, it often sounds like a threat. Just listen.
You could kill Jimmy with shoulders right now.
Jim, are you gonna help me?
I will do everything in my power to help you, man.
No, he won't. He'll come back to help defeat you.
Jimmy, are you gonna help me?
Of course! Craig!
All right. I swing at Josh.
What?
Weird. Wait. Let's back up a second. You wanted to attack me this turn? How about this, Ben? If you attack Shay, I won't kill you next turn.
Oh.
Seems pretty fair, right?
That is a pretty fair.
Seems pretty fair.
You know, they're not sitting on 20 lands, 10 lands, and if I blow up some of their lands, maybe they don't pay for a stick study.
God, Newmont the Devastator. What if I just like my lands, though?
Well, if you let me attack you, I won't blow up your lands.
Wow!
Oh, we're getting... I see how this is developing.
Okay, deal. Can I make that deal?
Yeah.
This hypothesis is further supported if we compare the success rate of conscription to the average success rate of a threat. Each flavor of threat has an extremely low success rate, which, when weighted by its frequency, gives an average success of 67%. The success rate for conscription? 50%. This deal behaves much more like a threat than its siblings with significantly higher success rates. But this only kicks the proverbial can down the road. If the reason conscription happens, and in fact succeeds, less often is because it acts like threats do, the question now becomes, why do threats have both less frequency and less success?
The person that hits me below 65 will die.
I think in each of these cases, the player making the threat is really far ahead, an archenemy of sorts. And at any given time, there can't really be more than 2 of those at a table. And in a game of 4 players, that's half of the players who might actually be in a position to make threats. This hypothesis is backed up by the observation that the number of these threats are all less than half the number of any of these deals. The threats tend towards requiring being the archenemy, and when you are the archenemy, your opponents are working together against you. They have no reason to help you. Which gives us another observation. Becoming the archenemy costs you political capital. But these 2 threats are different. They're structured in very peculiar ways, both of them withholding help to an opponent in different ways. To understand, imagine what situation you'd have to be in for there to be an expectation that you're working together with an opponent. Maybe even something complementary to this situation, an archenemy. But this time you're on the losing end of the table. If someone else was really far ahead and you were expected to work with your opponents to find a solution so that you don't lose, it could be a powerful tool to deny aid if you have the answer. But when this happened in a CEDH tournament, it didn't go so well. Here's the story. Player 1 has a Mindbreak trap in hand that the whole table knows about. Player 4 casts a Grand Abolisher so that their combo won't be interrupted. Now, Player 1 could counter the Grand Abolisher to give someone else a chance to stop the combo, but instead passes priority to Player 2, trying to prod them to use their open mana on a Thrasios activation to try to find an answer of their own, or else maybe burn their own counterspell to stop the Grand Abolisher. This is called priority bullying. It's an example of a spite threat that aims to get your opponents to answer the problem so that when you try to win on your turn, they don't have an answer. This isn't the only kind of spite proposition, though.
I mean, it's like, I would say, like, you could be activating this Thrasios and reset priority, but, like, I don't know, man, I think this is a little sus.
In the Game Nights episode where Josh played Muldrotha, he successfully convinces his opponent to use their graveyard hate early so that Josh's deck can find answers for Jimmy, the archenemy.
I think it was Winston Churchill who said, never waste a good crisis. I want that Sentinel Totem gone. Then will you at least use Sentinel Totem?
Before his turn?
No, like now.
During your turn?
Yes.
But in response to that, wait till the end of your turn. I mean, I guess the only reason to do it is just...
I'm just asking you to do it now.
He wants to use his perpetual timepiece.
And then he's going to use this thing to search for something to save us.
There's a very, yeah.
All right. Sure, fine. I crack Sentinel Totem.
This interaction wasn't nearly as unfriendly as the priority bullying example, but it effectively mimics the same structure. But for both of these propositions, if your choices are to lose to the archenemy or threaten your allies, it's also a very real possibility your opponents call your bluff and you both lose. In the priority bullying example, when that happened in the tournament, the player refused to spend their mana, even though they had a Force of Will and Swan Song hidden in their hand. Rather than capitulate and reward the player making the threat, they demonstrated that playing chicken with them would only ever cost you the game, and the $300 that winning would have earned them. This was criticized as a $300 mistake, but there's a strong argument to be made that disincentivizing your opponent from making those threats in the future, showing them that you won't negotiate with them in this way and that you're willing to burn $300 for it, probably keeps you from losing more games in the long run. Maybe it's better to not make those threats in the first place. So, the reason that these three are less common is because they're really only usable when you're in the lead, so at any given time can only really be made less than half as often as a friendlier deal. And these two are really only usable when you're behind and can cost you the game by burning your allies and even yourself. That leaves these three deals. These three deals aren't only offered more often than any other proposition, their terms are also accepted and respected at higher rates than other propositions. So if you want your propositions to be more effective, the first thing you can do is try to frame your propositions as one of these three. But there is so much more to value maxing your propositions than merely sticking to those three deals. Obviously, or the video would be over by now. Instead, the second thing you should consider to make better deals is how time factors into the bargain. Imagine a timeline of the game, where you plot the points at which political interactions happen. Now, make a prediction. When do you think they happen the least? Political actions don't happen very much at all in the early game. This is in part because there's not usually as much political value to be harvested when everyone's boards are undeveloped. There aren't many reasons to strike a bargain at this stage, and those that do usually end up regretting it later, like in these games. In this game, CGB gets to increase his speed a little earlier than he would have otherwise been able to.
I wanted to know, like, is there anything I could offer, any kind of deal to be made here that would make you want to maybe use your Cephalid Coliseum to take 1 damage to increase my speed for me here during my turn?
If you've not played with a speed deck in Commander yet, this is a pretty big deal. It essentially accelerates you by a turn, and accelerating your game plan's timeline is a really big deal. But in exchange, he offers this.
I'm curious if you would accept like an IOU, something like that, a favor maybe later?
One favor to be exchanged later. This was a cataclysmic mistake. You might even call it a spectacular pileup.
So I think it's time to go to combat.
Whoa. CGB.
Yeah, favor, right? I'm not gonna attack you. I have eyes for these guys.
Aww. And, you know, I really appreciate that. It's just, you know, if they're gone, then it's just you and me. And look at all these creatures. I'm wondering, 1, do you have a board wipe in your hand? And 2, if so, can I call in my favor in order for you to cast that board wipe?
Oh no!
Right now?
This deal that CGB made completely swung the game against him.
A deal's a deal. Okay, I'm gonna tap these for white mana. I'm gonna cast Spectacular Pileup, and All creatures and vehicles lose indestructible until end of turn. Destroy all creatures and vehicles.
But before you criticize this deal for giving the unlimited power of an unrestricted favor, watch what happens when the professor was more careful than this.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice. I need to attack with my commander to get the attack trigger. I need both the mill to get more things in my graveyard and the ramp from getting the extra land into play.
All right, but I get a chip to be redeemed during this game for one reasonable request.
Sure.
5 damage and a card for essentially
In exchange for a reasonable favor, Josh gets something at an earlier point in the game. But later, we see the professor getting something way more valuable much later in the game.
This game isn't quite over yet.
Since you're tapped out, Ailey, I am going to cast Deadly Rollick, targeting the Baitor with it.
But what if I don't kill you and I deal with him instead?
Before you go on, I'm gonna let you finish, but we're on the same side.
Reasonable?
Are you saying that
Beyonce!
Are you saying that if I target his, you will not kill me on your turn? Like I'll get another turn?
Yeah, it's all I want from life.
You want to use your chip?
Wait. I have a chip. I have a reasonable chip to cash in. Kill her, Baitor. I use my chip.
I would take that deal otherwise.
Yeah.
It's a good offer, and I would normally take it, but...
Fine.
Yep. I will exile your Baitor.
There is nothing else.
The power of a favor is not exclusively in the fact that it's a blank check, because even when Prof qualified it as a reasonable favor, likely to prevent just such a situation as in this game, it still ended up returning more value, simply because it happened later in the game at a time when there was more hanging on the line. This phenomenon is likely due to the gradual accumulation of resources on each board over the course of the game, getting access to more mana, fuller graveyards, more fragile life totals, and so on. So the takeaway is this: when possible, political value extracted later in the game is usually better. The next way you can extract more value from your propositions is by offering terms that you were already going to comply with. You might offer to remove the Grafdigger's Cage that's shutting off an opponent's Reanimator deck in exchange for them not countering your next spell after that. But the whole time, you actually needed to destroy the cage in order to resolve your Green Sun Zenith and grab your finisher. Another great example was this episode of Game Nights, where Jimmy successfully negotiates a mutual no attack or interact deal.
Josh, just so you know, your vote does matter, even if you don't have much power on the board.
I vote Mana Gorger Hydra.
All right, Mana Gorger Hydra's coming back.
Right before slamming a planar bridge.
Will not untap.
Okay. And this, my friends, is why you never politic with someone before they enter their second main phase. And then I'll cast Planar Bridge.
Oh no.
Oh,
wow.
But this has a counterplay. If your opponent is skilled enough, they may recognize that you already have a reason to do what you're offering and may not offer you anything in return. For example, this game, where Craig says,
Alright, so who wants to make deals? I can kill somebody.
And asks what Josh would offer him to not take out Josh, to which Josh replies,
I don't want to be attacked for 2 turns.
Listen, here's the deal I'm gonna make you. It's stupid for you to use an I can kill somebody right now on me. If you kill me instead of one of them, then that's up to you. Go ahead.
It's a good
More
point.
power to you.
I'm not as scary.
And Mel?
I'm just here to draw some cards, man.
Alright, I am going to tap Willow Satyr to target Kefnet the Mindful.
Josh spotlights in response to Craig's proposition, and successfully deflects the attack elsewhere without having to offer Craig anything. Jimmy negotiated this deal because in reality he didn't want to have to deal with attacks or interactions. Instead, he would have rather played the planar bridge. And this should go without saying, but I teach a lot of new players and the topic comes up, you should always honor the terms of your proposition. Unlike spells, political plays can have carryover to future games.
So nothing matters anymore, but I have to start thinking about future games. I need to send a message to Josh that this is unacceptable.
If you break a deal in one game, that can have repercussions in future games where you lose your ability to make propositions.
He did just hit you right out of nowhere, but...
It wasn't out of nowhere. He was talking smack.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, before we started?
Yeah.
Okay.
That counts in Commander.
It's true. Last week counts.
Yeah.
Whenever possible, you also shouldn't just honor the terms of the proposition, but the spirit of the proposition. In this episode of Game Nights, the professor felt betrayed by Josh, even though Josh honored the technical terms of their deal.
The Dragon Engine.
Now you bounce it, Josh.
Come on,
I'm considering it.
Do it, do it, do it.
What?
We made the deal that I wouldn't do it. I would let you meld. I did let you meld.
No, that wasn't the deal.
I literally laid it out. I said, if I let you meld right now and I don't bounce anything,
that's treachery. That's going back on the deal. That's breaking the deal.
Not the deal.
The deal was you'd leave me alone. The deal was you'd leave me alone.
No, your deal was you would leave him alone.
Yeah.
This is some real chicanery.
And the next time the professor came on, he remembered it and continued to pummel Josh even after his board was wiped and he was no longer the threat.
I want to go to combat.
Foxy.
Oh, I know. I can't hit you anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that turn?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Right. Josh, people who honor their agreements. Isn't that awesome?
Wait, I didn't attack you.
I'm talking about last game nights. An attack.
So it's gonna die, and I will take 5. Oh, okay, all my non-land permanents get bounced.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, given how these games normally go, I get stopped in my tracks, typically by Josh, but here I helped out. Now that's what I call fungicide.
It can be fun to try to get somebody on not being specific enough in their negotiations with you, but it's just not profitable over the long game. It generates mistrust, skepticism, and closer scrutiny of propositions that you offer in the future. Whenever possible, whenever convenient, try to honor the spirit of the proposition, not just the specific terms. It is not to your advantage to go back on a proposition. To summarize, the appease, cooperate, and blind eye propositions are the most common and most frequently accepted propositions. Propositions are more valuable later in the game. You should offer terms that you were already planning on satisfying, and always honor your deals to the best of your ability.